I am excited to have the next amazing man come and share with you. I had Kyle share at one of our other events, and the participants were blown away with his story and with what he's been able to create in a very, very short period of time. So I'm excited to have him back sharing with you. He's a founder and CEO, entrepreneur, social media influencer, has done a lot across social media. I think TikTok's the big one. I know he likes to get a lot of TikTok videos when he can, and is very much an advocate for transformational healthcare. And you know what? He's doing a lot of things at around, I think he's about 25 now, 25, 26. So at that age, to have a couple of very successful companies, built a great personal brand, and come from such a great story while creating such amazing success for himself as an early entrepreneur. There's a lot of things that we can learn from that today. You know, we learned a lot from Andrew. Andrew's 73, Nick's 44, and now to hear from somebody who's in their mid-20s and really not letting age be an excuse and not letting background and story become an excuse, but use that to go out there and create great success too. So for the last speaker for today, before I share with you guys later on myself, jump on your feet and let's give a warm welcome to the stage, the one, the only, Kyle Hunt, everybody!
We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us.
Come grab a seat. All right. So, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you coming and sharing. Last time we spoke together, I loved your story. I love what you're about. I love the way you've been building and growing your businesses. And so I'd love to start, for those that don't know too much about what you're doing, we'll start where you're at and we'll go backwards a little bit. Tell the people here today a little bit about what you're currently doing across your business. I know you're launching something new as well, but what are you currently doing across your businesses? Tell them a little bit about what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, my name's Kyle, and thank you very much for coming. I'm mainly in health. Sorry. I'm mainly in healthcare. So my main business at the moment is HCPA, which is a healthcare consulting firm. So we work with a lot of healthcare businesses, help them transform their business, help them get through regulatory compliance and whatnot. And then the other ones that I do, I'm very much in the telehealth space. So at the moment, I'm working on weight loss. So that's been one of my up and coming businesses. So we prescribe, dispense weight loss medications. And off the back of that as well, we're working in fertility, which is one of my newest up and coming ones as well. So we're working on our own treatments that our aim is to be 20 times cheaper than IVF, but slightly more effective than IVF. So that's something really, really cool that we've been working on.
Love that. Yeah, give that a round of applause. Oh, great start. That's amazing. So health, you got health. Why health? Why has that become the Kyle empire?
Yeah, I don't know. So since I've been growing up, I've always gravitated towards helping people and health, and I studied nursing myself. So yeah, I've seen what a lot of people are going through, and I've seen particularly how shit the healthcare system is. And even though we're very lucky to be here in Australia, it could definitely be way better. So everything I do is to innovate healthcare, particularly around the consulting firm. Like, we're really innovative with what we do with some of our clients and stuff. But yeah, and even with like this fertility side of things, I've seen that a lot of people are getting pretty well ripped with IVF, and there are better ways to do it. So I was just thinking, I wanted to innovate, and I just love helping people. What
about the IVF journey for you, looking at that and saying, I reckon we could do that better? Where'd that come from? Where'd that inspiration come from?
So it actually came from a lot of my staff members. So I have around about 100 staff members here in Melbourne. And yeah, quite a few of them have gone through IVF, or people who have left to go start a family have gone through IVF. And I just seen how tough it can be. Like, it literally takes their entire paycheck. You know what I mean? I've had one of my staff members pay $60,000 in IVF. And I was like, wow, that actually shouldn't be a thing, you know, having to pay that much to have a family. It just didn't sit right. So that's where I got that idea from my team, who were like, why don't we just do something in fertility? Yeah.
Well, at 26 now?
Yeah, 26.
Right. So at 26, to be really having a crack and trying to build these, you know, tell me a little bit about, let's go back a step for you. I know that you have had, let's call it, a very different childhood and upbringing for most people. Tell me a little bit about your story growing up.
Yeah, so I grew up in foster care. For those who don't know me, basically when I was 2 years old, I was left at a stop sign by my parents. And I've been in and out of my parents' care since then. But in between that, I'd spend, a couple months in my parents' care and go back into foster care. So I've experienced a lot of different families. Between my sister and I, we've been through just over 30 families. To be honest, I don't even remember my foster parents' faces. That's, it's every few months that we've been switching. And then there was a point where we got put back in my parents' care for the last time. And just for reference, look, I will never say anything bad about my mother. I feel like she was put in a very bad situation. But my father was a very bad man. He did a lot of bad things to myself and my sister. And yeah, I happened to be put back in the care. My sister, because she was high risk being a female, was left in foster care. And yeah, when I got put back in their care, I was around about, I think it was like 11 or so. I stayed there for around about another 2-3 years, and then that's when I got a bit fed up. I didn't want to go back into foster care again because I just would have been back and forth. So I just ran away. And yeah, I ran away to this homeless youth shelter, which was in a small town in New South Wales called Kempsey. And I ended up sneaking in there. So you actually needed to be 16 to stay in there. And I would have been around about 14 or 15 when I first snuck into there. So none of my food was subsidised or anything like that. But one of the workers knew I was staying in there because usually they give you a bed, right? But because I wasn't 16, they couldn't legally give me a bed because the only way that these shelters make money were from Centrelink payments, which you happen to need to be 16 to get those payments. So yeah, one of the workers was helping me. She was sneaking me food. She'd give me like blankets and stuff and let me sleep on the floor in this homeless shelter. And I just made a promise to myself that I'd always go to school. So every day, even if I'd wear the same uniform, I would go to school no matter what. And that's one promise that I gave to myself. And as I made it through school, it was my 16th birthday at the time. And yeah, one of my teachers picked up that I was living in a homeless shelter, and I never used to tell anyone, I didn't want to tell that story. And he picked up on it, and he actually worked with one of the workers that were working at the shelter. So they ended up working together and finding me a home. So on my 16th birthday, they took me down to Centrelink to get these payments. And they had already organised the government subsidised home, which is super cool. So yeah, on my birthday, when I got approved for those payments, they took me to my new home. And yeah, ever since then, I stuck out school and I just fell in love with the idea of healthcare. And I always wanted to help people, and it started off with nursing. My grades weren't the best because I did have to work throughout school to be able to eventually pay my bills as I got a little bit older. But yeah, I wrote a letter to this university and they accepted me. I told them my story. And I was like, hey, just give me a chance. And they gave me a chance. So yeah, I went to university for nursing, and I worked as a nurse for a little bit while studying as well. And straight after that, I was like, you know what? Screw this. I want to go start my own business. I got this far. I want to, just get a little bit further. And yeah, that's when I just veered off and decided to start my own business in healthcare.
Yeah. So, yeah. First, I want to say I really thank you for sharing, and I think that it's really important and powerful that people that have created some level of success share their real journey, and I, like you, and I think, I've mentioned this to you before, I hated sharing about my journey, about my family, and about the drugs, the alcohol, the whole separation, all that kind of stuff, because it was shit. But I realized that I think part of helping is really sharing our honest truth in our journey so that people can see that there is a path through challenge. So for you to go through what you've been through and to keep going, because I know people I've met over the years, I'm sure you have too, that go through the level of trauma, challenge, setback that you have, or even less, and that becomes their life. That becomes their identity. They don't shift away from that and make something good of a challenge. Why did you? How did you go from that to being so successful at 26? What was the differences, do you think, in what you did or how you thought or how you acted to others that see their trauma as their story forever and never really build out of it?
I think I just was so self-aware that my situation isn't going to get any worse than it is. And I always kept that, from the day where I would be stealing cans of tuna from Coles just to be able to have dinner, all the way through to even when, I got the rental property, or when I even become a bit older and I had my first, $100,000. Like, I always just reminded myself, it's not going to get any worse than this. I've already learnt how to be at this situation. So, just go a little bit further. So I never, ever lost that. And I've got some balls on me. I'm not going to lie. I'm willing to do risky stuff. Because if worst comes to worst, I know what it's like to go steal cans of tuna from Coles. I've been there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just can't get any worse.
Yeah.
And I think we all need to remind ourselves is that the situation that we're in right now, it probably won't get worse than that. You'll go forward, and if you do fall down, you're probably going to end up in the same spot that you are right now, and that's the reality.